the scenic splendor of San Francisco Bay. Pretty as a postcard, isn't it? But for some not-so-accidental tourists from Boston, just another one of those postcards from the edge. You know, in all three games, the Red Sox have jumped to an early lead, but they just could not hold on. And as a result, they find themselves trying to dig out of one heck of a hole, as all signs now point to a sweep. So hold on to your broomsticks. It's Game 4 of the American League Championship Series, the Boston Red Sox and the Oakland Athletics on CBS Sports. And hi again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien, and we've got another league championship doubleheader for you with two teams on the threshold of the World Series. Sox have now dropped 9 straight. And the last victory celebration dates back there to Game 5 of the 1986 World Series against the New York Mets. And you know what happened after that. The record is 11 straight postseason losses set by the Phillies. And I suppose if there's any consolation, the Red Sox can not break that record this year. Stopper, and in Boston's case, that's Roger Clemens, who was both valiant and effective in Game 1. The A's simply countered with Dave Stewart, who actually won the opener. And Jim Gray, as we swing it out across the continent to you, even the decision to start the rocket is not as simple as it might appear, right?
Well, that's exactly right, Pat. You know, the Red Sox are no longer talking about winning this series. They're simply talking about winning a game. Of course, they were swept by the A's back in 1988, and they don't want a repeat of that. But there is some controversy, and that has to do with the A's starting pitcher, Dave Stewart. He's questioning why the Red Sox would use Roger Clemens after just 3 days rest, and he's wondering why they would risk their franchise.
I would think that if you have an athlete as special as Roger Clemens, that you would try to do what you could to protect him, to keep him strong, to keep him healthy. I just don't see the point in risking his physical condition for one ball game when the chances of them winning this is not very likely.
That's a pretty harsh assessment by Dave Stewart, but you know, Clemens' teammates say he's simply obsessed with wanting to beat Dave Stewart, and he wants the opportunity today.
Veteran Willie Randolph, the hero of yesterday's game, plays second base. Mark McGuire over at first. Terry Steinbach will do the catching. Dave Stewart will do the pitching, trying to set a record in league championship play.
Bringing up to date on what we've seen so far, the Oakland starters have been magnificent, allowing only 3 runs in 21 1/3 innings. And their relievers, well, Dennis Eckersley has 2 saves, and the Red Sox bullpen has struggled throughout. That's been a big Achilles heel for them. The Red Sox 0 for 17 with runners in scoring position. They have not gotten a hit when they've had runners in scoring position, and they have had a 1-0 lead in all 3 games.
And I think today you see what Oakland has done with just 32 hits, 29 singles. I mean, you're looking at a team that is known as the Bashers, and yet the Red Sox have more extra base hits, but they have not been able to take advantage of their base runners.
Dave Stewart, who was the winning pitcher in Game 1, working 8 innings. The Red Sox want to call getting 3 runs in 3 games productive. He takes a fastball for a strike. He has a homer against Stewart and a double in the series. Pitch is outside, 1-1. Stewart with a 22-11 year. And in his personal matchup with Clemens, 7-1 lifetime. Fouled off the mask of Terry Steinbach, and the count is 1-2.
And if he were to win today's game, he would have 5 victories in league championship series play, and that would be a record.
He was 4-0 in postseason in 4 starts. Check swing, but a ground ball into right field, sort of a half swing, and Wade Boggs has his 6th hit of the series. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and a line drive right at Willie Randolph to retire the side. Greenwell hit it solidly. No runs, a hit, 1 left. The Red Sox don't score, and the A's coming to bat. In the first inning after the Red Sox go out.
And they've juggled the lineup when they're at the at bat, but in the field they line up the same. Greenwell, Burks, and Bernansky.
He has been caught once. Yesterday he tried to steal third and was nailed, and there was some back and forth as whether that was a good move or not. Roger Clemens, first pitch of the game to Henderson, swings and a pop-up Drifting foul and out of
Held Lonborg back for the final day, and they won.
line drive, base hit to right field. Bernansky cuts it off, and Ricky Henderson is on board with his 5th hit of the series. So the base stealing threat is here early in this game.
You get the idea from this at bat that Ricky Henderson has said, okay, some of the other guys have been getting it done. Willie Randolph, Dave Henderson. Today is going to be my day.
Who would have pitched today had the Red Sox won yesterday. He'll be on the mound for Boston. Line drive, base hit to center field by Carney Lansford. And he continues to pepper Red Sox pitching that 2nd inning. And the runner goes. Lansford is off, and the pitch is fouled back. And Lansford is off again, and the pitch again fouled back.
He's got a nice, loose, comfortable grip. In fact, so loose, throws the bat back to the backstop. Just missed home plate umpire Terry Cooney.
You don't often see the bat slip directly behind, do you?
You throw it out in the infield somewhere. Now, that's one of the old phrases in teaching hitting. Throw the head of the bat at the ball. Steinbach did it right there.
Lansford has taken off on the last 2 pitches that have been fouled off. Here he goes again, and the pitch is lying to left field. It's a base hit. Greenwell firing into third, and safe at third as the ball gets away. Moving to second base is Steinbach, and he'll go in there, and the A's have runners at second and third. It'll be a base hit, and an error will be charged somewhere. Ground ball hit to the hole, a throw to third base. The tag is made, but the run is going to score as Steinbach is retired. Carney Lansford comes in on McGuire's fielder's choice ground ball, and it's 1-0 A's. And that's in for a strike. Randolph was on his way down to first.
Really said, you sure? Talked about the lack of high strikes being called, that Terry Cooney rang that one up above the belt. In fact, that looked like above the letters.
And that's ball 4. Randolph is on. That's the first walk given up by Clemens. Runners at first and second. Right now, let's go down to the field and get a report from Jim Gray. Jim?
Okay, thank you, Dick. This is the practice glove of Mike Gallego, but come game time, he uses the same glove that he's used for the last 8 years. He's a leather freak. Uses a lot of meat oil, toils with all the A's gloves. He says if Linus can have his blanket, he can keep his glove. Let's go back upstairs to you.
All right, Jim. And here is Mike Gallego, who is 3 for 7 in the series. A's with runners on first and second. That's McGuire at second, Randolph at first. And Terry Cooney arguing with Tony Pena, and Joe Morgan gets into the fray now. And you don't often see a manager get thrown in a playoff or a series. Weaver has, Earl Weaver in the past.
I thought that possibly it was a balk call, and Cooney came from behind home plate. I mean, Morgan is livid, and I'm wondering whether he's ejected Clemens. First of all, the scouting report on the umpires, and this is a rotation system. You don't get the 6 top-rated umpires, but Terry Cooney is one, if you ask managers and players, has a very short fuse, tends to get upset a little easily, and this is an example of it.
Well, could you believe it? I mean, you say they just threw something out towards Vic Voltaggio.
Well, Clemens, be careful. Clemens is coming after Cooney because I think he just realized Cooney has ejected him. Obviously, Clemens was shouting some things down at Cooney about the questionable balls and strikes.
I got to tell you, even though you're not allowed to do that, in a game like this, you don't throw out a pitcher like this.
You know, umpires used to be like your grandfather. They'd walk away, they'd let you have a say, and let you get it out of your system, but now they're like the spoiled little kid down in the corner of the block, you know, and they get cocky and arrogant, and this is an example of it.
Now, a Red Sox coach and player got tangled up in the dugout now. The question is, did Terry Cooney throw out Roger Clemens?
I can't imagine it wasn't Roger Clemens. If it was somebody else, Clemens wouldn't be the guy trying to get at him. I mean, it's absolutely absurd to throw a guy out in a situation like this, a game of this magnitude.
That could be the only thing that has the Red Sox acting like that, throwing things from the dugout, and Morgan and Clemens trying to go after the umpire.
Now I saw Clemens go to his mouth, and I'm wondering whether maybe the initial call was that Cooney said Clemens went to his mouth or balked or something in regard to that. Doubt they would have this much.
Roger Clemens, Morgan, and the dugout.
John Hirschbeck, the umpire in your picture, along with Tony Pena, trying to calm Roger down. Here's the look at the start of it. Here's Clemens. And he's saying something right there to Terry Cooney. And obviously in reference to Cooney's strike zone. The first pitch to Randolph, the 3-0 pitch, the high one, was called a strike. The next one was in the same place. He called it a ball.
We haven't seen any movement in the Red Sox dugout or bullpen as far as getting somebody else up to throw. I would think that
An opportunity to speak to some of the Red Sox players over there. They said that Roger Clemens has been upset with the strike and ball zone the entire game, and that he had a couple of comments for the umpire, and all of a sudden he was just heaved out of the game. Now the Red Sox are very upset because they say this is a playoff game and you can't throw a guy out for arguing balls and strikes. Let's go back upstairs to you.
I think at least you get a warning and the umpire comes out and says, look, one more word from you and you're gone, and you do it that way.
Yep.
I don't think he got that kind of a warning from Terry Cooney.
Once again, this is Clemens jawing with Terry Cooney, and this is nothing new. Umpires will usually come out and warn you or say something. Hey, all right, you've had your say. That's enough. This is nothing new to argue a little bit. But to come out in a playoff game as a home plate umpire, and of course, I mentioned when you talk to players and managers and you follow the league all season, you find out the personalities of different umpires. And this is in no regard a comment on Terry Cooney. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's. Roger Clemens isn't through. You can, as he wants. Right now, let's go to the New York studios and Pat O'Brien. Pat?
All right, Dick, thank you very much. We're joined now by, you've probably been calling him Don Denkinger all your life. It's Don Denkinger, an American League umpire for 22 years, been in the business. What's your assessment of this situation, Don?
Well, what I saw happen was that Roger said something to Terry Cooney that was personal. I mean, he swore at him. And you just don't let him swear at you personally because you have another team out there that can also hear it. And it had to be audible or he wouldn't have thrown him out. And a lot of people are saying, well, it's the magnitude of the game. You don't change the rules because of the magnitude of the game. The rule says you cannot argue balls and strikes with an umpire. You let the pitcher question you once in a while, but you won't let him get personal with you.
You don't give him any kind of a break at all in this situation?
Absolutely not. You can't let him swear at you. I mean, he had to say something about Terry personally, and that's what automatically would get you ejected from the baseball game.
What about a warning then? I mean,
well, we don't have warnings.
Sides here, but
I understand that.
Yeah.
We just don't have warnings. You know, you don't, not when they get personal with you. That's the key thing that happened there is that he got personal with Terry Cooney. Right. And you can't do that. He could have said something about the balls and strikes, but he cannot say something about Terry Cooney.
Right, so quickly again, for all those people up in Boston who are arguing someplace now, what exactly is the rule once again?
Well, the rule states that you cannot argue balls and strikes with an umpire.
Period.
We will let a pitcher question balls and strikes, but we will not let a pitcher or anybody else in that field come to us personally and call us names. And that's what had to happen. Roger had to say something personal to Terry Cooney.
Don, thanks for your expertise. That's it from here, Dick. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much, and it's good to see Don Denkinger, who I remember worked his first postseason game in '75 of the Red Sox-A's series. And what are your thoughts of Don Denkinger's thoughts?
Well, I think Don's words about getting personal are certainly true. And I know that umpires have a difficult job to do in a game of this magnitude. He says it doesn't make a difference. But I guess over and above the rule, what I think of when I think about you know, the late Charlie Berry and Nestor Shylock and guys like that, is that common sense would take place and you would step out and say, hey, the guy is pumped up, he's in the game. Yeah, he said he did something he shouldn't do, but I'm going to go out there, I'm going to say, Roger, cut it. You know, that's enough. I mean, as far as swearing and calling names and things like that, since Abner Doubleday invented this game, there's been a little bit of that going on. I can appreciate the rule and Don's feeling about that, but I can't see why there wouldn't have been a warning and say, Roger, I've heard enough, knock it off, which is what.
And a fly ball, center field, deep, going way back and over the head of center fielder Burks. Ball bounds around, McGuire scores. Here comes Randolph, and in its second with a 2-run double is Mike Gallego, and it is now a 3-0 lead.
As if things weren't tough enough for Joe Morgan and Roger Clemens, Tom Bolton leaves the fastball up in the zone. Mike Gallego's a good high ball hitter. And with the warm conditions here, this ball carries a little bit better than Ellis Burks thinks. Playing him shallow as you would. And Gallego with a big 2-out double. He's
Gallego at second. Both of those runs are charged to Roger Clemens. Something to Ricky Henderson. And Rene Latchman, the third base coach, comes in. What's going on anyway?
Richie Garcia, who is down on third base, may have to get involved here and restore order. He's the umpire in this group that can take charge, put things back in order.
One ball, one strike is the count. Faster than usual.
And this is a little ploy. He's going to wait till Terry Cooney gets to the mound, and I think you may see Joe Morgan explode.
And every Red Sox infielder will join the conference at the mound. Boggs is walking in now.
Cooney doesn't want to go out there. He's waiting. He's going to wait till he gets there. Joe might plant a few tomatoes out there while he's waiting.
Well, here comes Cooney. This ought to be interesting.
A silent treatment.
He took an outside turn on Cooney, and Morgan goes back into the dugout. It's Roger Clemens, who started with 3 days rest. A lot of words about whether that was the smart move or not, and he gets thrown out for arguing with Terry Cooney in the second inning. There's Mike Gallego, who knocked in 2 runs with a double. Fouled it. And strikes him out on a curveball, and that'll do it in a wild second inning. The A's score 3, however, and that'll stay in the books. 3-0. We'll find out.
The batter, center fielder.
There's Roger Clemens.
See, when you're ejected, you can't sit on the bench, but Roger's not going to move. None of the umpires are going to make him move, so they will write up a report on him and send it to the league office.
Here's Ellis Burks, who's hitting leadoff and popped up to McGuire in foul ground his first time up. Pitch is low, ball 1. In short left field, makes the catch in a 1-2-3 inning for Dave Stewart, and we'll return to the Oakland Coliseum after this message and a word from your local station. Now Joe Morgan in the dugout
talking with Jim Evans, who is the first base umpire. And what they're talking about there is Clemens cannot stay on the bench. Hey, is Evans going to pick Roger Clemens up and move him? Clemens says, I got to the playoffs. You kicked me out, but I'm going to sit here and watch.
That's Terry Cooney, the home plate umpire, who tossed Clemens to start it all.
Actually, Jim Evans is the right field umpire today. Well, it's sure taken a lot of the suspense and electricity in what promised to be a great pitcher's duel.
Now Clemens is going to leave through the path going into the tunnel. Photographers surround him. like he's a visiting dignitary, and some mixed reaction from the fans.